Welcome to video 4 of a 6-part series of an NEC SL1100 Basic installation. The next thing we're going to talk about is the automatic day-night switching in the system. There are two different schedules we need to build. The first schedule is the system schedule and is used to route calls to specific places based on the time of day. For example, our scenario is that on Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, calls ring extensions 101 to 108. All other times, calls will go directly to voicemail. We will use the system's automatic day-night switching to accomplish this. The second schedule we must build is the voicemail schedule. The voicemail schedule is used to decide what greeting is played to the callers when they reach voicemail. Using our example, if a caller overflows to voicemail during the day, we want them to hear the day greeting. However, when the callers go to voicemail at night, we want them to hear the night greeting. First, we will look at the flow of the system's automatic day-night schedules, and then we will begin programming. We will cover the voicemail schedule a little later. If automatic day-night switching is enabled, the first place you're going to go to is program 120501 and assign stations to a group. There are 4 different groups, and by default, all users are assigned to group 1. The different groups will be used when sections of phones have different hours. For example, there may be a service group that is open from 8 to 6, while the rest of the company is only open from 8 to 5. In this scenario, all phones in the service department would be placed into a different group. The next place you would go to is program 120601. This is where you assign the trunks to a group. In the previous example, I stated the service department had different hours than the rest of the company. If the service department has their own set of telephone lines, then these lines would need to be placed in a separate group. By default, all lines are assigned to group 1. After the groups have been assigned, you must go to program 120301. Based on the groups assigned in programs 1205 and 1206, you assign each day of the week to a pattern. There are 10 different patterns to be assigned. These patterns are used when days of the week differ. For example, let's say Monday to Thursday the company hours are 8 to 5, Friday the hours are 9 to 4, and Saturday and Sunday the hours are 12 to 3. In this case, there's 3 separate patterns that need to be created, because Monday to Thursday would be one pattern, Friday would be a second pattern, and Saturday and Sunday would be a third pattern. Once the days of the week have been assigned to a pattern, you now go to program 120201. This is where the different days of the week get their times assigned. For example, the times of 8 to 5, 9 to 4, and 1203 get assigned here. The last place you need to go to is program 120701. Here you can assign names to the 8 different day-night modes. Now that we understand the programming flow, let's begin the actual programming. You're going to connect back to the SL1100 and perform a download. Again, verify your proper IP address, username, and password are entered and click on Connect. Once connected, click the download icon to begin your download. Click Start to begin the download. Once the operation is complete, click on Close, and now we can begin our programming. Still in advanced mode, we're going to go to program 120102 and verify that automatic night mode switching is enabled. You will notice by default program 120102 automatic night mode switching is not enabled. So we are going to enable this and then click on the Apply button. Do not forget, anytime you make a change on any screen, you must click the Apply button before leaving. The next place we are going to is program 120501. Here we're going to verify that all stations are in the same group, which they should be by default. We do not have to make any changes here for our scenario. Again, our scenario is on Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, calls ring extensions 101 to 108, and if not answered, they overflow to voicemail. All other times, the calls get answered directly by the voicemail. After verifying program 120501, go to program 120601. And here, you're going to verify that all trunks are in the same group, which again, by default, they are. This program would only be used if different trunks had different schedules, and in our scenario this is not required, seeing all trunks will follow the same scheduling. After you verify the trunks and the stations are all in the same group, go to program 120301. Per group, which in our scenario all trunks and stations are in group 1, assign the days of the week to a pattern. There are up to 10 different patterns available. You would assign any day that is doing something unique to a different pattern. In our example, Saturday and Sunday, we do not want the calls to ring the stations between 8 and 5, so we cannot use the same pattern as assigned to Monday through Friday. You will notice that the default already has Saturday and Sunday assigned the pattern 2, and we will leave this set as is. Once the days of the week have been assigned to a pattern, you must assign the times to the patterns in program 120201. Per group, per pattern, you are going to assign your times. Be sure that whenever you're building your times, you cover a 24-hour period. For example, looking at pattern 1, which we have Monday through Friday assigned to, you will notice that from midnight to 8 in the morning, the system is in mode 2, which is our night mode. Then from 8 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon, the system is in mode 1, which is our day mode. After that, from 5 o'clock back to midnight, the system again is in mode 2, which once again is our night mode. Seeing these default hours match our scenario, we do not need to make any changes. However, before leaving this page, we do want to switch to pattern 2, which we currently have Saturday and Sunday assigned to. To switch to pattern 2, up in the top right hand corner, click the little right arrow, and you'll notice now you are on pattern number 2. You will see on pattern 2 that by default a 24-hour period is covered, which is from midnight to midnight, and you'll notice the system is in mode 2 between those hours. Mode 2 is our night mode. So this means on Saturday and Sunday, all day, the system will be in night mode and calls will be answered by voicemail. Calls will not route to extensions 101 to 108. Seeing this matches our scenario, we will leave this alone and not make any changes. The last place we will look is program 120701. Here you can verify or change the names assigned to the system modes. You'll notice by default mode 1, which is our current day mode, has no name assigned, and mode 2 has night with brackets around it. Maybe we want to change it to night with capital letters. Just make your change and click on apply. These names may show up on the display of the multi-line telephones. This is based on class of service. By default, extension 101 will be the only extension to show the names in the display of the telephone. Before we upload this data to the SL1100, let's verify the proper date and time is assigned in the system. To set the date and time, click on the time setting icon up here. You will notice that a date and time picker menu is presented. Choose the proper date, which today is already selected correct for me, and choose the time. You can enter any time you would like and then click OK. That immediately changes the system's date and time. After all the changes have been made, upload the database to the system, and when finished, be sure and disconnect. To upload, click on the little red upload arrow. Click Start to begin the upload, and once again, do not click Include Blade Configuration, just click Upload. Once the upload is complete, click Close, and disconnect PC Pro from the system. To test the automatic day-night mode changes, you must let the system cross one of the time patterns. For example, change the system time and date to be any day, Monday through Friday, and make the time be 4:59 p.m. You will notice that when the system changes to 5 o'clock p.m., automatically calls are now routed to the voicemail. They are not ringing extensions 101 through 108 anymore. By default, from extension 101, you can go off hook and dial a service code to change the time. The service code is 728, and then you dial in the time using a 24-hour clock. Once you have entered the new time, go back on hook. For example, if I wanted to change the time to be 4:59 p.m., I would go off hook and dial 728, 1659, and then go back on hook. Now that we have covered our system schedule, let's take a look at the voicemail scheduling.